Hey everybody, it's your host Amber on another episode of the Behind Her Boom podcast, coming to you today with a very special guest. I have Megan Sylvester all the way from, are you in Idaho, Megan?
I am.
Idaho. She's in Idaho, and we are going to dive in and really talk about her story, her journey, how she's gotten to where she is today as an entrepreneur. She looks like she's manifesting lots of great things, has a real great energy, great vibe, helps women bring their sexy back. We're going to talk into all of these different topics. So welcome, Megan, to the show.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. And I just have to let everybody know. So I'm a mom of three, and all of my kids are home because it's summertime.
That's
So
exciting.
yeah, exciting stuff. We're living on
So the
the
door can
edge,
open
recording
at
a
any
podcast
point.
with all the kids home.
Everybody, it's your host, Amber here, MLM strategist and entrepreneur who has worked with thousands of network marketers and influencers and entrepreneurs in your space, helping to brand them, systemize them, and grow their downline on a global level. Creative director with AK Social House and your host of the Behind Her Boom podcast, providing you with proven, simple, and actionable steps to build your authority and your brand so you can stand out from those sideline sisters. Inspiring you with our special guest to think big and grow to 7 figures and beyond. Let's go.
Yeah.
I've done that before, and you never know, but they always either are very quiet, very good, and it's like great, or it's the complete opposite. Like there's nothing in the middle, So,
Right.
and we can crop things out. So if complete chaos happens, we can edit that out or keep it.
Perfect. All right. Real life. Real
So
life.
yes, no, that's great. This is all real life stuff anyway. So I'm just excited that we're able to hop on here and really kind of share your story and your journey with our listeners. A lot of people listening to Behind Our Boom podcast listens to like network marketers, leaders, entrepreneurs, coaches, and really kind of sharing their stories and their values and how they've shaped themselves to be where they are today. Because I feel like a lot of people play that comparison game, and rather than comparing themselves to their own old version of themselves, they compare themselves to like somebody's, 5 years later, here I am, and then they kind of dwindle in that sense. So I'm excited to sort of learn your journey. I know that you've recently hit a landmark where you've gotten to 100K followers, and you're beyond that now. But take me back to like Megan at like 100 followers, and like where did everything evolve
Yeah.
from? Let's start
Yeah.
there.
So I I was in corporate for several years and was climbing the corporate ladder and was very successful. I was a director of sales and marketing for a healthcare company, and I was one of the, if not the youngest person on the executive team in my very early 30s. And so from the outside looking in, all the boxes were being checked. I was like doing it. I was living it. I was driving the Mercedes. I was wearing the stilettos, and nothing wrong with that. It was like awesome,
Living life. Yeah.
boss lady status. And I started having this like nagging sensation that even though this was good work, I mean, I loved the people that I worked with. I liked the job that I was doing. I liked the accolades and getting promoted. But even though it was like good, satisfying work, like it was like, this isn't it. And I cannot tell you why, other than this like still small voice that's like, But because I have a stubborn streak, I chose to ignore it and ignore it and ignore it until my body was like, listen,
We're done.
you got to stop this. Yeah. Yeah. And so I all of a sudden started experiencing like really debilitating migraines, chronic like cystic acne that was really painful, started flaring up. I just was not in a good state. And eventually, so I started going to all these doctors, and none of the doctors could really help. It was like, here, take this pill. I don't quite know. I can't like give you a diagnosis. None of the pills worked. Like nothing was getting better. And one day someone randomly handed me a book. And it was just about like what you eat impacts how you feel. Like when I say that out loud, like duh, but I was raised in the South, didn't really ever think about that. And that book led me to, for one of the first times in my life, feel like I had the power to make the decisions that impact me right away. And and down the road as well. And because I had kind of always given my power to an authority and was like, tell me what to do and I'll be perfect at it. I'll do that. But I never really gave myself the space to be like, what feels right for you? And so this book, and then a series of other books started igniting this sense of empowerment and autonomy in me. And from that point, I just got so excited. I just started sharing. And it was mostly around health and food and like how all these changes were making me feel. And that led to kind of a spiritual awakening. So I started reading books around limiting beliefs and, your soul essence and purpose. And I just started sharing. At that time, it was Facebook. I wasn't very active on Instagram. So I started sharing on Facebook and just started sharing my journey just from a place of like, oh my God, like I got to tell you about this. So it wasn't from, I was not like coaching. I was not supporting other people. I was just sharing my journey. And then I started Instagram, and it was just kind of a lot of like my life, like here's me and my baby, and here's some shoes I like. But the more and more I shared about my journey, the more I started noticing people were really like paying attention. And one day I was sitting at my corporate office, my desk, and I got this Facebook ad for a health coaching certification. And I was like, what am I going to do with that? Like, I don't want to be a health coach, but there's something, this curiosity is like pulling me towards it. And so I applied and was like, I don't know, whatever. And then I got accepted and was like, okay, whatever. And then I did it and it was a year-long program. And somewhere along the way, I was like, I think I want to do this in addition to my corporate job. And so long story short, I still working the corporate job, started sharing a little bit more from a more like, hey, I do want to help you on Instagram. And, but my following, I was at like 400 followers for like 2 years. And eventually I went part-time in my corporate job. And then like, I was at that for like 8 months. And then I went full-time into doing this as a business. And, my journey into entrepreneurship was absolutely not an overnight thing. I have a mortgage, I have kids, I have bills to pay, I have a partner who I want to make sure that he feels like I'm being responsible with, how I'm moving forward. And so it was, about a year and a half long process of like diving into doing this full time. And I very much like shifted and evolved. Like I started as a functional medicine health coach and that lasted about 2 months. And I was like, this isn't the exact thing. Like I want to help women and I want to empower people to like live a full and vibrant life. But the meal plans, like that's just, it doesn't feel fully me. So I allowed myself to grow, to shift and evolve out loud without like making announcements or apologies of just like, no, I'm moving more in this direction and this direction and now this way and this way. And that's kind of that's led me where I am today. So, yeah.
And so now, Meg, if somebody reaches out to you, ultimately you're like one-on-one coach to help them. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So for a long while, my main focus was one-on-one coaching. And then I love one-on-one, but there's a limit to how much I can support people with that.
Yeah.
And I really found that I thrive as a facilitator and a guide in an in-person setting and retreats. And I love working with a community and with a group of women to where we're all the wisdom keepers. We're all the mirrors and it's not just me. I feel like that's a really empowering model. So I started doing, hosting women's retreats all around the world, also, local. And it just feels so good to me. And so that's mostly what I do now. Every once in a while, I open up spots for private coaching, but it's not very often. And I host anywhere from 5 to 10 retreats a year now. And that's really what I love to do. I love traveling. I love being with, open-hearted, open-minded women who are like, yeah, let's try this. I love creating sisterhood. So I was like, well, why can't that be my job? Why can't I do that?
Yeah.
And for a while I limited myself. I'm like, no, like the one-on-one really needs to be your focus, and maybe 1 to 2 retreats a year, because that's what's realistic. That's what's accessible. And then like a few years after that, I was like, says who? Why?
Right.
Why? So I just trusted that curiosity and that vision and that energy that was really lighting me up, and just went all in with it. And it's turned out to be, exactly what I'm meant to be doing. And I love it so much. And yeah, so we'll be moving into like, hosting like group digital virtual experiences, because I know, flying off to France or Mexico or even Idaho or Texas is not available to everybody. So there's lots brewing. But it's always, my work is always coming from a place of like, what feels really good to me first and foremost, rather than, what do I think people want? And then let me design something off of that. No, it's like, it's got to feel so juicy to me first.
First. Yeah, I think that's
Mhm.
actually a great way to sort of lean into our audience. Even a lot are in the network marketing space. And if I look at a lot of them of how they feel, a lot of them they'll follow others, they'll follow if the grass is greener somewhere else, or they'll follow
Mhm.
their upline. So there's a lot of that like limiting belief of I can only do so much. And then they'll look at maybe
Mhm.
like an influencer or somebody that's doing incredibly well, and they'll put like a label on them. They got in early, they're prettier than me, they can talk better than me, they can do all these different things, and yet I'll just kind of stay down here and hoover here because this is like my comfort zone and all that I
Mhm.
know. So
Mhm.
I love how your story went from, yeah, I'm in the corporate world making really good money and I can't just like leave that. So you did this sort of transition, into what you were doing and kind of got your feet wet there. But I do really like what you had said about needing it to feel like really good and authentic on the inside first, because I think a lot of people get lost in like the sale, like lost in the product or
Mhm.
lost in the, join me, join me. Why am I joining you? Tell me a reason of why
Yeah.
I should be part of your community, right? Instead of like
Mhm.
click the link and join my team, or click the link and buy my product. And I'm
Mhm.
always kind of like diving into saying you've got to share your story, you've got to be authentic, you have to create
Mhm.
that community. So just sort of what you're sharing and telling me, I wouldn't even have to question or ask you, well, how did you manage to get from 400 followers to 100K followers? Because you've done it sort of this authentic way of really just sharing what's
Mhm.
meant for you. And I think along the lines of that, when somebody does that and they focus in specifically on what feels best for them, it just naturally gravitates towards this community of people that are feeling that energy, right? Even though it's a complete stranger,
Mhm.
I'll feel your energy through a Zoom call, whether like we're on like the same kind of frequency or not. So I think this is
Mhm.
so much fun. And you've also allowed women to know, don't put a limit on yourself or a label. If you want to do something, then go freaking do it. So why
Do
not have
it.
retreats like
Right.
a couple times a year and just travel the world and get paid for it and inspire and impact people? I think that's so much fun. When is the next retreat? And what's happening there?
The next retreat is Labor Day in Northern Michigan. So it's a long weekend, and it's this gorgeous mansion. This will be the second time that I've led something there, right on the lake. And it's just like play and pleasure and like moving your body in ways that feel good to you. We're calling it like spiritual summer camp, like let's not take
Right.
it so seriously. Like, yeah, we're going to dive into the work, but we're also going to paint and play and like play dress up and connect to our breath, connect to our food, be cooked for. And it's such a joy. And, listening to your beautiful reflection, thank you. I do think one of the biggest factors in my success has been vulnerability and transparency. So I don't know about you, but I'm very tired of seeing perfect, and like I have all the answers and I know best, so come follow me. um I find that to be very disempowering, because it's creating a false illusion for people to live up to, because even the person that's saying I'm perfect isn't. So
Yeah.
they're just creating, it's not real. It's not attainable because it's false. Um, I also honor the fact that people always have a choice what they want to share and what they don't want to share. So you don't have to share your deepest, darkest, like secrets or, things that you're still really much working through. But I do know that one of the things, on my platform that people resonate with is the fact that I am not sharing from a space of I know best. I have everything figured out and my life is perfect. I show the messy. I let people know when I'm walking along beside you, like this is something I'm working on and here's some things that have helped me, but I'm still human. I'm still in the work, and or in the practice. And just that level of transparency and vulnerability helps people to feel safe. It builds trust. It builds credibility, and I think we're coming out of an age where in order to be taken seriously, you had to be an expert. And the experts were the ones that are teaching. And now I feel like there's a big collective shift in I want to be inspired. I want to feel empowered to know that there's other women like me that are living fulfilling lives, that maybe don't have everything perfect, that don't have everything figured out, yet still they're rising and they're like finding pleasure in their daily life. I think that's so much more inspiring than someone sitting, in their perfect and sharing all of their expert, knowledge. Um, I want real, and I want to know that you understand that where I've been and that it's not always just as easy, easily said as you just can't like tell me to do something if I don't know that you have been in the trenches too. So,
Right. Yeah.
and I know that's really resonated with people.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I look at a lot of influencers that speak repeatedly of their conversations and their success, but the ones that really really inspire me are the ones that always have this back end story of like, yeah, I didn't have it so easily, and then they have sort of this. I was, a single mom with 5 kids, almost like they have these crazy stories of down here of like the lowest of low, which allows
Mhm.
me to really sort of visualize of like where their path went and what kind of mindset shift you needed to make, because anybody that's
Mhm.
really down here and struggling or working like a minimum wage job and is trying to pay the bills and like literally just get by with ends meet
Mhm.
to like living to like multiple 6 figures, 7 figures and beyond. I'm always so
Mhm.
curious to say like, where did that, like, how did that shift happen?
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
I spend so much time and energy working with just, the average woman who wants to come in and do something new on social media, wants to have a time freedom, wants to have that shift, that change. So, they kind of get into this entrepreneurial space or the network marketing space or something like that. But they're still in that like employee mindset of like, tell me what to do. What else do
Mhm.
I need to do? Oh, I need to reach out to people or I need to connect. So there's it's not that authentic, like it's not coming from in here, knowing like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, I have something that can like literally change your life because it changed my life. And I like it's in
Mhm.
my mission now. Like I need to like get it out there. That kind of energy is so much more, consumable and contagious than
It's
like,
magnetic. Mhm.
hey, yeah, right. Then like, hey,
Mhm.
and they're like I've had some clients, I know they're reading it. They're like, hi, I have this incredible opportunity that I want to share. I'm like, I know that you're like reading it from a, a
Mhm.
whatever you call it, teleprompter,
Mhm.
instead of just like being genuine. So, and I always tell people, share your story, share your journey. It
Yes.
may not, maybe it's not your success story today that it's going to be in 3 years from now, but it's your journey and you'll rewrite that
Mhm.
story or you'll share it again and make a new video, in
Mhm.
6 months or a year from now. But don't go and share
Mhm.
somebody else's. Go watch this amazing success
Right.
story of somebody else. Why?
Yeah.
I want to work with you. So tell me your story, right? Tell me your journey.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's important. I think people can get overwhelmed when we're like, well, tell me your story,
Yeah.
because there's so much. It's like, where do you even start?
Where do you want me to start?
And
Exactly.
something that's helped me a lot Yeah, is micro moments, you know, like tell me about the other day when your kid was in the car screaming and you were so stressed out, how you pulled yourself, you know, out of that like anxiety and just into the present moment.
Yeah.
Tell me that, you know, or tell me how you woke up and you were feeling so down on yourself. And then you took 2 minutes to do something and then you used a certain product and it just centered you back into your day. Like, tell me about the micro moments. I can see myself in your story. Yeah, maybe the details are a little different, but it's like, oh my God, yes, I know that feeling. I've been there before.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so having your whole big story is great. But those little micro moments, you know, where we can really see each other, ourselves and one another, that's so powerful. It's so powerful. And I think it's a really unintimidating way for people who are wanting to start sharing more authentically and more vulnerable. Just think of the little moments, you know, throughout your day where
I agree.
you either use the product that you're selling or use the mindset, you know, and it led to the feeling that your ideal client wants, because your ideal client doesn't necessarily want a product. They want to feel a certain way.
Yeah.
So how can what you're sharing help them to feel like, A, you see them, you understand them, and you have something that could possibly help, you
Right.
know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, because I do think, you know, sometimes when I get messages from network marketers, it's like, I have the thing that's going to change your life. And I immediately am like, how do you know? You don't know that that's going to change my
You
life.
don't
But
know
if
me
I
or what
hear
I'm
like,
going through.
yeah, but if I hear something more of like, this really helped me when I was feeling XYZ. And then now, like just using this, it's helped me. And maybe it can help you too. Are
Yeah.
you interested? Do you want to check it out?
Yeah.
That's so much softer. And I'm like, yeah, like I'm curious now. Show me, tell me.
Yeah. Yeah, because you sound more
Yeah.
real. It's really just about reframing anything that you have to offer. And whether you're in network marketing, coaching, entrepreneur, at the end of the day, we're all on social
Mhm.
media to offer something. So you're offering, your guidance and your expertise and your advice and all the different things. And there should be something. There's some sort of path along the lines to say, hey, I can also offer you this, or I can coach you. I can go,
Mhm.
a level deeper, and we can do this together. But it,
Mhm.
it does come down to really reframing it in a way that we're speaking directly to that person and showing, it's problem and solution. It's always, show them the problem and show them that you may have the solution. So talk about that problem.
Mhm.
But I think it is, social media is loud and it's busy and it's big, and you can come off really spammy with anything that you do or
Mhm.
non-authentic. But I think if you really if you want to reach out to somebody, but you're looking at sort of their account and understand, it takes 5 minutes to understand who somebody is. You can learn so much,
Mhm.
just 10 minutes before this call, I can scroll through your website, everything, and be like, okay, what's Megan, get on the go here, and get kind of
Mhm.
an overview of everything that's going on in your life to be able to resonate and have conversations. Oh, 3 kids and they're home right now while you're having this podcast. I can relate.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it just allows for more of like an openness type of conversation to say, maybe I do have something that could solve one of those, those things that's going on in your life. So I love
Mhm.
that you've created a space for women to go and share that, because I think a lot of women get caught up in their own sort of little circle, or a lot of them don't have the support. They don't want to go and complain to
Mhm.
family, friends, to that. I mean, I know for us, we moved into a whole different city and state, and with nobody, no family, no friends, no
Mhm.
support. So if there's anything going on with the kids or with your spouse or with your work, it's like, who do you talk to? And I love that you've created this space that allows people to go in. And I always feel like it's easier to like share your problems and like load all of your stuff off to like complete strangers than to go to like your best friend
Mhm.
and be like, hey, by the way,
Yeah.
my daughter's getting real
Yeah.
sassy now. Yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So it's great that you have that on the go. So where can we kind of see Megan going now in the later half of 2024 and getting
Mhm.
into early next year? Do you have sort of new things on the go? You've got retreats. That's kind of your golden ticket. I mean, you guys should be
Mhm.
booking the next retreat or get on a wait list for when the next one is,
Mhm.
because I think that can be really it can really help. It doesn't matter where you are in your journey or what level of, like what line of business that you do, whether you're a stay-at-home
Hmm.
mom or work, it's for everybody, right? It's for everybody to come in and connect
Absolutely.
with
Yeah.
themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So my journey, I'm turning 41 on Friday. And last
Happy
year,
birthday.
on my 40th birthday, thank you. On my 40th birthday, I committed to, I set the intention that I wanted to experience more pleasure in my life. And not just, physical pleasure, but mental, emotional, just a pleasurable life. And the practice of pleasure started before my 40th birthday, and really learning how to even connect to that word. It was so, I kind of really severed it, just after having kids, and my dad died, my dog died, I was diagnosed with Lyme disease. Like, I felt so disconnected from my body. And when I turned 40, I was like, it's time to like really, really get into my body again and to live a very satisfying, satiating life. And so that's been my practice for the past year, if not more. And so today, actually, I'm starting a 30-day, I'm just showing up on Instagram and just sharing very easy, accessible ways to bring sexiness and pleasure into your life. I'm a mom, and moms are allowed to be sexy. We are, and you can be sensual and pleasurable at the grocery store, washing the dishes. It doesn't have to be this one idea that we have of quote unquote sexy. It
Yeah.
can be, but bringing this energy into my life has led to a more lighthearted, just a more satiating life in general. So I'll be sharing just little, very easy tips to implement in your own life on how to bring that sexy playfulness, lighthearted energy into your life. And later down the road, I'm not giving away all the juicy details yet, but we'll be diving into that more deeply. So there will be an invitation to join me in that world. And yeah, so I'm very excited about that. And then I've got a couple of retreats coming up. I have a wait list for those, and they usually fill up pretty quickly. So yeah, it's lots of juicy stuff going on that I'm
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
thrilled to be like living this life.
I'm really glad that we're able to connect, Megan, because the majority of my audience is network marketers, and we interview a lot of leaders in network marketing. And you're not in network marketing, but you're an entrepreneur, and the things that you do and that you offer, I just think really align with the audience that I serve. Because when I look at all these women of what they go through, the struggles of the ups and downs in the industry, and trying to build a business around their family, trying to have the support, with or without their spouses, trying to like run, their typical 9 to 5 job, and also build this side hustle, and around the kids. I mean, it's a lot, and I always give so much kudos and commend all these women for what they do, because I do it. I'm part of this, running a business. I'm not in network marketing, but I support them. But I know the vast amount of energy that it takes to be able to put into creating the success and creating that dream life that you want. It's not always monetary. It's not always about the money. A lot of the times it's about the freedom, or it's to be able to
Mm-hmm.
just have that, extra time with your kids, or be able to actually have a date night that a lot of women just can't afford to do, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that we're able to connect, and that hopefully my audience can come and follow and connect with you, and to see that there's a level of support there that you can get from other women going through all different things. And there's this community that they can go to and really be part of, and, almost have like a shoulder to lean on, to share your stories, share your struggles,
Mm-hmm.
and find a place to, yeah, be sexy. You can still wear yoga pants and be sexy. There's different
Mm-hmm.
ways. I
Mm-hmm.
turned 40 last year, and I feel like I was so scared of turning 40. I was like, my daughter still thinks I'm 22. She actually, for Mother's Day, wrote a letter and said, my mom works out. That's my job. So thanks for that. I was like, why? Because I just get up in the morning. But she said that was my job that I
Right.
work in. and that I'm 22. And I was like, wow, thanks. I'll leave it like that.
Cute. Yeah.
Right? Super cute. I was terrified of turning 40 because I was watching all this content of like these menopause and all these different things and hormones. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm not there. Like in my brain, I'm not there. I'm still 22. But it's been the best year ever. And even body
I
wise,
love it.
right? I like will never go back. My 30s, I was like fluffy and frumpy and soft, and I was addicted to donuts, and I was like lethargic because I was addicted to like I was constantly running on a sugar high between coffee and sweets. And then I just made this big shift when I turned 40, and I'm very committed to working out every single morning and my diet. I call it food for the mood always of,
I love
finding that
that.
finding that balance. If you're just in a pissy mood, like you need to, you probably need some protein or something like that. So good for the mood, but I do love to be able to embrace whatever stage that you're in, not compare yourself to any others. Doesn't matter how old you are, where they are in their level of success in their journey. So, being able to sort of connect and be part of a community like what you're offering, I think that's incredible. I appreciate you coming on here and sharing all of that, Megan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
So where can people find you? I mean, I'll put all in the show notes anyways, but where are you mostly active? Is it Instagram?
I'm mostly on Instagram.
Yeah.
So that's where you'll find me on Instagram. My website is my website. Feel free to come take a peek and say hi, but you'll get a quicker response from me on Instagram. I'm on TikTok, but speaking of growing, like I just started TikTok. My business manager was like, you need to do that. And I'm like, oh, fine. So I think I have like 150 followers on TikTok,
Yeah.
but I'm like, okay, I'll do it. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and then Facebook, you probably won't find me over there. The app is not on my phone. So I have an
No.
account barely on there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I'm the same. I've been over Facebook, but TikTok's one that I like. I've got the app on my phone. I keep looking at it. And every time we'll post on social media, I'll say, did you post on TikTok? And my assistant's like, yeah. And then I'm like, I know you didn't post on TikTok. Go back and post on TikTok.
Yeah.
Like 10 posts on there.
Yeah.
We can start building it up. So yeah. Yeah. Well,
Same.
that's great. I will make sure to put it in the notes then that people can reach out to you over Instagram, your website. They can connect. You can get on the wait list for maybe one of your upcoming retreats and connect with you that way. And that's it, you guys. I hope you found some value in this. I love when people share their stories, their journeys, their success. Everybody's on their own road and path. So thank you so much, Megan, for hopping on here. And thank you guys for listening. This was another episode of Behind Her Boom podcast with your host, Amber, and we'll see you on the next show.